Hi and welcome to the show and tell of the month of March. This is the first time that I am doing this video, but I have seen it a bunch of times, you know, every month from Lisa Papaz here on YouTube. I really enjoy her videos, I really enjoy her video concepts, and sometimes I want to do them for myself. But you know, I credit her. I'll link her latest show and tell in the description box below. I am filming this quite up to date, like quite not early in the month, it's definitely the end of the month, but I'm pre-filming a lot because I'm gonna be really busy hopefully in a couple of weeks, so I want to pre-film as much as possible. So I am going to start with memories. I'm going to talk about books, media, TV, and then I'm gonna end with the decks that I used, the decks that I hauled, as well as the decks that I am going to declutter. There are quite a few that I'm gonna declutter, so let's get started with memories. I have talked in a couple of videos already that I have had quite a tough month in March, so we're gonna start with a couple of things that aren't as fun, but I do have some fun things to talk about too. So the first thing that sort of is sticking out for this month is the fact that I failed my assessment. If you don't know, I am in college. I am sort of in my extra year. I am already delayed. So I'm now in my 5th year of university studying to become a teacher, and I have my internship. I was teaching 4 days a week, and then I had my assessment. So an assessor came over and she watched me teach for the entire afternoon. It was a Friday afternoon, so it was already a little bit hectic, but it wasn't good enough. So I failed my assessment, so I had to do it again. And that assessment, or how do I want to say this? Like, I totally get all the feedback. I 100% agree with all of the feedback that I got, and it was definitely very valid that I failed it. However, it did make me not want to be there anymore at that internship. So I sort of quit that internship, and I'm looking for a new place right now because I was just not having fun. I thought, you know, I have this whole list of feedback that I'm gonna have to implement within the next 3 weeks. And first of all, I don't know if that's even doable. And second of all, I don't even know if I want to do that, because if I stay there for the end of the internship, the last couple of weeks, I knew that I wasn't going to stay in education. I wasn't going to stay a teacher. And I want to give myself the opportunity to find a place where I can find joy and can find enjoyment in teaching again. It just wasn't going to happen at that school. So yeah, I'm looking for a new place. Hopefully by the time this video goes up, I will have found a new internship, and then I can add that to the memories of this month. But for right now, it's that. And then right after I failed my assessment, I quit my internship, I got incredibly sick. I filmed a couple of videos with like my nose stuffed. It was so bad. I was listening back to it. It was really bad. I got so sick. I felt horrible. First my boyfriend got sick, and then he gave it to me, and then we were both sick, and then it was just me. And now I'm finally getting over it. I still sometimes have to blow my nose a little bit, but yeah, wasn't good. However, in between that, I didn't even write it down, but it's pretty big thing. I got a new tattoo, so I'll insert a picture, but this is what it looks like. It's a mandala, yeah. It's so pretty. I'll link the tattoo artist in the description box. I'll put the name on the screen as well. Victoria is her name, and it was such an enjoyable experience. She was so nice. She put up a flash sheet of 3 mandalas, and this is the one that I love the most. And within a week, I had my appointment booked, and I had it on my arm. So that was really, really fun, really exciting, and I really needed, like, I had the appointment booked a couple of days right after my assessment. So I was like, you know what, either it's gonna be a celebratory tattoo, or it's gonna be a cheer me up tattoo, and it happens to become a cheer me up tattoo. I absolutely love it. The next fun thing that I did in March was I did a snack exchange. with a friend that I met online. She lives in Texas in the US, and we did a snack exchange. So I sent her a bunch of goodies from the Netherlands. I translated some Dutch recipes and I sent that to her. And then I got a box full of goodies. Let me not show any addresses. Yeah, it's fine. I got a whole bunch of stuff. So I got some ring pops, a bunch of ring pops actually. I got 2 kinds of Dandy's marshmallows. I'm vegan, by the way, so she looked up all of these things. They're all vegan. I have the regular marshmallows and the smaller marshmallows. I still have to make hot chocolate for those mini marshmallows. I got these Takis, which are hot, and she said that I should use some like vegan sour cream to dip them in, so I'm definitely gonna get that. Then we got some Hubba Bubba bubble gum. I got it smells so good. Nerds here in flavors grape and strawberry. She got me Cracker Jack Originals. These are popcorn, so I love popcorn. My boyfriend and I both love popcorn. Then I got some Swedish fish, and she got me some Fun Dip, and I'm so excited for this. So what this is you have this sugary stick right here, and they have this sugary dip right here. So you lick the stick, and then you dip it in a dip, and then you lick the dip off the stick. So that is super fun. Yeah, my boyfriend also got something that was more savory. I don't remember the name, but that one wasn't vegan. It was a honey mustard something. But he really enjoyed that. So yeah. Ooh, I almost dropped everything. Okay, so that was a snack exchange. That was really, really fun. Another fun thing that I did was that I posted my tarot card meaning cheat sheets. So I'll put an image on the screen and you can find it for free to download in the description box. It is just a cheat sheet. You can get it in A4 or in letter size. I changed it up a little bit. The design isn't completely like this anymore because I have 1 page of the major arcana and then 1 page of the minor arcana, including the court cards. And I do have enough space for you to write down your own keywords because I thought that it was really important. So you can either keep it digitally or you can print them out and have them on paper. I really like having it on paper. So yeah, that was another good thing. And the last good thing that I did was that I did a declutter of my decks, because it was really needed. I was feeling so overwhelmed with my decks, and I just did a good declutter of it. So I'm definitely gonna talk about the decks that I decluttered. But first, I'm gonna talk about books. Yes. So these are books that I got in. So first is a tarot book, The Ultimate Guide to Tarot, and I heard Lisa Papaz talk about this, I think in like a 3 Fat Readers episode. I don't even know if it was a recent episode or whatever. I sort of binge watched a lot of their videos. But also my best friend, who's also into tarot, she has this book and she absolutely loves it. So what we see here is for every card, we have so much information on just the one card. It goes into the Kabbalah, something that I want to learn about. It goes into the astrology, and I do have an entire book on tarot and astrology that I also want to dive deeper into, but I think I'm going to dive into this one first. And then it has upright meanings for home, relationships, career, money, reverse meanings, the symbols. It goes into the symbols that we can see in other cards as well, and it actually refers to, like, here we see golden droplets. And then we can also see this in the card of the Tower. There's also golden droplets, and then what it means. And then it also has a historical aspect of it, as well as a spread, a tarot spread to do about the cards. So there's so much information in here, and I cannot wait to read it. I'm really excited about this because I think it says it's a beginner's guide, and I'm sure it is. I'm not saying I don't see myself as a beginner. I have only been reading the cards for like 1.5 years, but when I do something, I go all in. I am very confident in my ability to read tarot. However, I am always open to learning more and to dive deeper into my tarot practice. Then next, they aren't really books, they're more like magazines. So this month, I guess it could have gone into memories, but we had, I don't even know what to call them, but we had another election here in the Netherlands. It wasn't for the entire country, it was just for the smaller, I don't know if they're called counties, I don't know what to call them in English. But we had elections, and I am a member of a political party here in the Netherlands that I really truly believe in. And we get little goodies sometimes. So I already have like 2 books somewhere around here that were written by the previous head of the party and the current head of the party. So I have the books of them, and we also got a magazine, and this is All Little Animals Help, and it's a little play on a Dutch saying, I guess, it is kind of hard to explain. However, this is about the bio industry, and it talks about some numbers, it has some interviews. It is so interesting. It is about biodiversity, sorry. It's about, but also the bio industry. And like I said, I am vegan. This is something that I think is super, super important. So it was just a lot of very interesting facts, really. A lot of interesting facts and what we need to do in the world to not have it like burst in flames, if that makes sense. So that was one magazine that I really enjoyed reading. And then the next is the Happiness magazine. So I am a member or a subscriber, I guess, of this magazine, Happiness. It's a Dutch magazine, and this is really like a spiritual sort of magazine. And I really enjoyed reading this too. I do have to say, some things I find a little bit too spiritual that I'm like, yeah, doesn't really vibe with me. I'm more a down to earth sort of spiritual person, and this is like a really spiritual magazine sometimes. But this was about abundance, and I really liked it. It talks about manifesting abundance, and it talks a little bit about your money mindset. I really enjoyed it. So those were the books. No, I have one more book. I'll put an image on the screen because the Bahari Life's guide to 2022 finally came out. I'm not gonna lie, I think it took a really long time. It's a guide for the entire year, and then you get it and 2.5 months have already passed. So that is something that I didn't really appreciate. However, I do find the guide interesting so far. I still have to read up for this week, but yeah, I don't really have a lot of thoughts on it yet because I haven't really read a lot of it yet. But yeah, that is another book that came in because I pre-ordered it in January. Now let's go to media and TV. So what I've been watching throughout the month, I watched it throughout the last month too, but my boyfriend and I are watching Charmed. I have never watched it. It was definitely something for my time, and his sisters, who are more my age, because my boyfriend and I have like a little bit of an age gap, but his sisters watched it, so he already knows a bunch of what is happening. I don't, so that is fun. But yeah, we're watching Charmed, having a lot of fun. We're in the 3rd season right now. And then 2 other things that I watched. One with my boyfriend, the Friends reunion on HBO Max. Because I didn't have HBO Max, and we got the account logging from his cousin, so we watched the Friends reunion with his cousin, and my sister-in-law, we watched the Harry Potter reunion, which was a lot of fun to watch, so I really enjoyed those. And then I also sort of started watching Love is Blind. I did enjoy it, but I don't know, we sort of have to keep watching it, I guess. The 1st season we're watching, I'd never seen it. It's fun. It's not something that I'm super invested in, really care about. A lot of things just sort of frustrate me, but that's the whole thing with reality, that it usually frustrates me. And then for YouTube, I really enjoy the My Classics tag that Danny Mystic created. So if there is a playlist, I'll definitely link it in the description box. Yeah, I participated in it. I talked about my classic decks. It was a lot of fun to do, and I really enjoy watching other people's classic decks because it's sort of their favorites, their most trusted, and I really like that. Now let's go to the decks. So I do videos on decks that I use for the next month. So the next couple of decks are the decks that I used in the month of April. If you want me to go in depth in that, then definitely I'll link the video down below where I do the actual reflections. So the decks that I used were the Good Karma Tarot deck. It comes in my homemade sunflower bag. But yeah, that is the Good Karma Tarot deck. Was really fun to work with. It was definitely like my workhorse deck of the month. The Good Karma Tarot, really enjoyed working with it. Then the next deck that I used, having a lot of trouble here, is the Magical Dogs Tarot deck. You guys, I love dogs. I love the energy of dogs. I just vibe with it so much. Love the Magical Dogs Tarot. That is one that I used this month. Then I also used the Happy Tarot. I'm gonna keep this one in the box. But yeah, the Happy Tarot is also one that I use, that I had a pretty tough reading with. This sort of predicted that I was gonna fail my assessment. So I was a little bit mad at it because it's like, it's a happy deck. It's supposed to be delivering me happy messages. And then it does me dirty. Like, no, I'm kidding, of course, but it's like, it's a really sarcastic sort of energy deck. Okay, another deck that I used is the Anna K Tarot, or I didn't really use it a lot. I literally used it yesterday for the recording of my podcast. But yeah, the Anna K Tarot deck. I do love this deck. This is one of my, one of the decks that reads very easily for me. So I do enjoy the Anna K Tarot. Then I also have the Afro Avatar Tarot deck. Guys, I love this deck so much. This is the best Avatar inspired deck that I could wish for. It is absolutely gorgeous. The only thing that I don't like about it is how glossy it is. It's basically like plastic cards, and you can see that like the reflection is really bad. There's my ring light. The reflection is really bad. And the cards stick together when I shuffle it, so that is something that I don't like. The cardstock is literally the only thing that I don't like about it, because the images are gorgeous. So that's the Afro Avatar Tarot, and then I have the Queen of the Moon Oracle that I use. This one is new, and I am gonna definitely... Ooh, there's the reflection. These are also pretty glossy, but they don't stick together as much. I just dropped a couple. But yeah, I definitely want to do a deck study on this. Speaking of deck study, I did a deck study of an Oracle deck, which is this one. Woo! Legendary Ladies Oracle. I did a deck study on this. I did a video on the deck study that I did on this. And it's actually going to be... I'm not going to go into the decks that I decluttered yet, but I decluttered this. So I used it, and I'm decluttering it. Okay, so first let me show you the deck that I hauled. The deck that I got into my collection new, and that is the Tarot of Trees. I ordered this in February, but I got it in the snack exchange box because shipping to my friend was €5, and then for her to ship the entire box that she was going to ship to me anyways was like $10. And if I had this shipped to me directly, it would have been 26, 27 euros. So that is insane. For me, shipping from the US to here, I don't get why it is so expensive, but okay. The Tarot of Trees, it is so cute. This is a smaller edition. I really appreciate it that it's such like a smaller card size, because I have a lot of larger cards, and I do really like this this size, and I don't think it takes away from the artwork, from the details in the artwork. I really like it. I did do an entire video on this that is also up on my channel. Link it down below. So let's talk about all of the decks that I'm decluttering. It is 8. I'm decluttering 8 decks. And aren't you proud of me? I only hauled 1 deck. Okay, I also purchased 2 again, but they haven't come in yet. One isn't gonna come in until April, and the next one I literally ordered right before filming this video. but I'm gonna keep that for next show and tell. So the decks that I'm decluttering, there are 4 Oracle decks and 4 Tarot decks. And I don't even have that many Oracle decks. So let's start with the one that we already know. Legendary Ladies Oracle. This is not a deck that I enjoy working with. This is not the way that I like to work with Oracle. If you work with goddess energy, if you work with deities, then this is probably great. The art style, you guys. The art style is gorgeous. I want a portrait done in this art style. It is so pretty, but it is just not my vibe. Or it is my vibe, it's just the theme is not what I use in readings. So I'm really, really sad about it. And I really don't want to let this go, but this is not what I'm gonna use in my practice. So I have to get rid of it. I have to declutter it, and I'm gonna sell it. Everything that I'm decluttering, by the way, I'm gonna sell through Vinted, because that is where I purchase my secondhand decks as well. Next Oracle deck that I'm gonna declutter is my Green Witch Oracle. And this wasn't even close to being on my declutter list. I was gonna do a deck study on this, but I'm like, you know, there are so many, like I basically have to do a deck study on all of my Oracle decks, but I would prefer other decks because it's cute, okay? It's funny. This has like vegetables and fruits and herbs and flowers on them. And then it has a keyword and it's fun. It looks cute, you know? It's very green witch, green plant, nature. It's fun. But I don't use it. And I struggle to use it. And I don't get fun out of using it. So I did do a pick a card reading. I filmed a pick a card reading. I think that is going to be up before this one, where you can choose a flower from my Green Witch Oracle deck. And I could do the same with the herbs and grab a couple of fruits out of here and say like pick a fruit, but that would be the only way that I would use this deck. And that is just not enough reason to keep an entire deck, just to have something to pick from, when I also have a bunch of crystals that I can just show you, like different crystals that you can pick for a pick a pile, or I could do bracelets. I have a couple of bracelets, or I could do rings. You know, there's so much that I could use for pick a card readings that is not an entire deck. And the same sort of goes for my daily crystal inspiration Oracle. I don't use this anymore. I used this a bunch in the beginning of my practice, but now I prefer using tarot when it comes to messages, when it comes to reading cards. And if I grab an Oracle deck, it has to be really special, and this just is not special to me. I could use this, you know, for pick card readings. I could have like, and I did do that once. I could have like a bunch of cards next to each other, and you can pick a crystal from this deck, and then a card has a message, and it's fine. But again, that would be the entire reason that I would own this deck or would keep this deck in my collection. And to me, that is just not worth it. I want a deck in my collection to be used, and if I don't use it, I would rather have this deck go to someone who will use it. And then the last Oracle deck that I'm gonna declutter is one that I also didn't really see coming, but it's the Pure Magic Oracle deck. And what I found from reading through this, I think this is just, and it's stupid because it's right there in the name, Pure Magic Oracle, but I find this Oracle deck, the cards, to be too magical and too witchy. We have Songbirds, Levitation, Salamander, Burning Man. What else do we have? We have Telekinesis, Banyan Blessings, Raising Winds. And then with every card, we do get a bunch of keywords, which is fine. With here, Belladonna Visions, we get Caution, Guidance, Clarity, and Stand Firm. And it's like, but which one is it? Because there are so many different keywords on the card, and they are divided into the 4 elements, which is nice. But I think that what I like Oracle decks for, this doesn't do it. So I'm going to declutter that. So those were the Oracle decks that I'm going to declutter. Now let's get on to the tarot decks. Okay, the next one I don't think is going to be a surprise. It's the Happiness Tarot. And like I said, I have a subscription to the magazine, and with getting that subscription I also purchased this one. So I got it for a very discounted price. But oh, the cards, or I should say the cardstock. First of all, it's a very thin deck, but also I am doing this with the entire deck. Like, I could fold this in half while holding the entire deck. That's not good. When I try to work with this, it's like semi-thick paper. I could fold this in half easily. And when I shuffle this, I almost fold the cards in half, and I'm not even a rough shuffler. Like, I have mobility issues. I am not rough with my cards. But this quality, there's no quality. There's no quality. And if you want to purchase this deck by itself, you have to pay 50 euros. And that is just not worth it. It's like there was so much care put into like that there's gilding, there's beauty. The images in the cards are really pretty, but they are sort of getting overlooked because of the poor production quality. The guidebook looks really good. I think there's a lot of thought that was put into the guidebook. There was a lot of thought put into the box because it has like velvet here and it has velvet line, it's lined with velvet on the inside. But then it was like, oh right, we have like the box and a beautiful guidebook, but we still have to make the cards. Well, let's just put them on printer paper. That's what it feels like. It just feels like slippery printer paper. It's absolutely horrible, and it really makes me not want to use the deck. I am not a cardstock snob. I love flimsy cardstock. I don't mind flimsy cardstock. Like my Magical Dogs tarot deck is from Llewellyn, and some people hate the Llewellyn cardstock. I love that because it's flimsy, it makes it easy to shuffle. But this is so flimsy that it's just really hard to shuffle without folding the cards in half. So that is a deck that I'm actually sort of mad at. So next is my Pagan Tarot, and I rarely ever talk about this. I think I talked about it on this channel once before, and it was when I went through my entire collection of tarot and oracle cards. I'm sort of annoyed at this deck. Also, I should have known better. I got this second hand. I thought I really wanted this. I almost got it new, but then I got it second hand. The images are just not very bright. They're very muted, but like muted in not a good way. I love muted images. It's very much my aesthetic, like muted cards. But I look through this and it is so, I don't know what it is. I'm finding it very hard to describe my problem with the artwork, but it's just sort of hard to see anything. It's sort of hard to notice anything because it's so dull. I'm sorry, I think it's just dull, and I get bored looking at this. I get bored looking at this deck. So yeah, I'm gonna declutter this. I got this second hand and I'm gonna pass it along because I just do not. I haven't even filmed a flip through of this. I don't vibe with this deck. Yeah, it sucks because I do like the depictions, the way that they try to depict things and situations. I just don't, the art style is just not really my vibe. Okay, 2 tarot decks left. And this is a deck, I think I worked with this in February or January. It is a Tarot Renard. And this is my second ever indie deck, but I am just not vibing with it. I don't like the cardstock. It is way too matte for me, that the cards are sticking together and it's hard to shuffle. Like if I want to shuffle, it's just hard because everything sticks together. And then when I try to put the cards down for a reading, I sort of have to really look at what the cards are because there are no titles like that. Like right here with the 7 of Pentacles, at the bottom we have a little pentacle and a 7 in it. But I want to look at the card and immediately see what it is. And sure, for in this case, I can sort of tell, but there are other cards that I'm like, I don't really know what I'm looking at, especially in a spread. It is RWS based, sure, and the artwork is beautiful. But what I don't like about some of the artwork is like, this is perfect. Or which one do I really like? I do like this one because it uses a lot of white space. And we have like we have a lot of white space. But then this card, it's like it is completely, almost completely covered card, and it's just so different because there's no white space here. And I really appreciate the cards with the white space in here, like this one. I like that. Or even this one. But a lot of the cards I just don't like, I just don't vibe with. I like the idea of fox energy, but it's not my deck. So I'm gonna declutter this. And the next one is one that I am not 100% sure on decluttering yet, but it is my True Heart Intuitive Tarot deck. And what I just did before filming, I divided all of the cards in this deck between cards that I love, cards that I'm like meh about, and the cards that I really just don't like. And yeah, I had the most cards in the cards that I love, but only by a little. Only by a little. And the piles between ones that I hate and the ones that I was mad about were basically the same. And there were only a couple more in the cards that I loved. So I just think that there are too many cards in this deck that I don't like. The main ones are the court cards that I don't like in this deck. And some other things that I don't like are the backs. I also hated the box. I threw that out, which is why I have it in the bag. I don't really know what I think about the guidebook that comes with it, because it's more of like a sort of biography made into a tarot guidebook. It's created by Rachel True. She plays a part in a movie or a show or whatever that apparently a lot of people know. I don't. But yeah, these are the backs and they're horrible. I hate the backs. Some people hate the cardstock. I don't mind the cardstock. It's really cardboardy. It's really cardboardy. And a lot of people say they absolutely hate it. But it's like, wait until you've tried the Happiness Tarot. That is cardstock you should hate. This is really not that bad. So I am very much on the fence on if I want to declutter this. I'm leaning more towards yes, but this is one that I'm not going to put onto Vinted yet. I'm going to keep it somewhere apart from my collection and see if I want to reach for this within the next couple of months. And if I don't, then I'll put it on Vinted and definitely declutter it. But yeah, the other decks, the other 7 decks, I'm definitely putting on Vinted and selling them. So if you are from Europe and you have Vinted, definitely look me up. I'll put my Vinted link in the description box. So that is everything that I wanted to talk about for my show and tell of March. Those were my memories, the decks that I worked with, the deck that I hauled, and then all of the decks that I'm decluttering. So I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments down below. I feel like recently I've had a hard time having my camera focus on my face. So I hope it was all right in this video. If you want to book a personal one-on-one tarot reading with me, you can do so through the link in the description box below. I also encourage you to hit the subscribe button if you enjoyed this video and you want to see more of me. I do a lot of tarot chats, pick a card readings, that kind of stuff. And yeah, listen to my podcast. I have a podcast. I don't talk about it enough on this channel, I think, but it's always linked in the description box. It's like a weekly forecast podcast where I talk about the astrology and then do a tarot reading for every astrological transit to get the energy for us. So if you like that, let's definitely listen to it. I would love to hear your feedback. And for now, I want to say thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you next time.